It's the 27th of July, and this is your News Bite brought to you by eNCA.com. I'm Marcel Gordon, and in your news today, embattled IDAC head Andrea Johnson resigns, 2 mass shootings in 2 days in the Cape, and Team SA collects more Commonwealth medals in the pool. President Cyril Ramaphosa has accepted Andrea Johnson's request to resign with immediate effect. The IDAC boss says the past 5 months have been challenging. She also pointed to personal attacks, which she says have brought an extreme amount of negative attention to her, IDAC, and the MPA. Johnson did, however, continue her Madlanga Commission testimony into IDAC's investigations into crime intelligence officers. Here she is interacting with Commissioner Advocate Sesi Baloyi about whether she had sufficient evidence to justify the investigation into Dumisani Khumalo's security clearances.
Are you saying you were satisfied from the briefing you got that there was a basis to investigate whether General Khumalo, or an allegation that General Khumalo's security clearance given when he was a brigadier was a result of manipulation of your vetting process, of their vetting processes? When he became Major General, the security clearance that he got was a result of the manipulation of vetting processes. And then when he ultimately becomes I think he's a Brigadier, Major General, and then Lieutenant General. Are you saying that with the briefing, you are satisfied that there is a basis to investigate those clearances that he got starting with Brigadier? Is that what you satisfied yourself about, that there was a basis for that?
There was a basis.
For that.
To request those documents to determine whether or not, in fact, there was a manipulation of the security vetting processes.
So you were satisfied that there is from your briefing, you were satisfied that there is sufficient information that casts doubt on his security vetting for all those 3 positions?
That is correct.
At the same time, MP Fadiel Adams has opened a criminal case against senior IDAC investigator Dylan Perumal. Remember Judge President Selby Mbenenge, who was facing gross misconduct charges in a sexual harassment complaint? Well, the Judicial Services Commission has recommended his suspension. The Commission says it reached the decision after considering written submissions on whether Mbenenge should be suspended, pending Parliament's consideration of the matter. Now, President Cyril Ramaphosa must consider the matter as the process moves forward under the provisions of the Constitution and the Judicial Services Commission Act. To Cape Town now, where 5 people have been killed and 1 injured in yet another mass shooting, this time in Gugulethu during the early hours of Monday morning. The 20-year-old woman wounded in the attack has been taken to hospital. Meanwhile, in another shooting in Kaimandi in Stellenbosch on Sunday night, 4 people were killed and another 4 injured. While Western Cape Premier Alan Winde and the province's acting Police Commissioner Luyanda Damoyi went on a walkabout in crime-ridden Philippi East this weekend. The cops say they confiscated 51 firearms just last week during raids in Cape Town. And while the last quarter data showed a decrease in violent crime in gang hotspots is clearly still a problem.
For the first 2 weeks of July, there has been a good decrease in terms of gang-related shootings. But for the 3rd week of July, we started to see increase, which we are dealing with. These 17 stations that we're topping, that we're contributing 89% in our gang incidents. We have managed to reduce those gang incidents. But what we are seeing, they're starting to shift to other areas, like we started to see increase, which we are dealing with.
I have that saying that says nothing stops a bullet like a job, nothing gives you dignity like a job or puts food on your table like a job. So employment and economic growth is obviously one of the main antidotes to crime. And here in an informal area, the job opportunities are quite low.
While Winde and Damoyi emphasized the importance of partnerships with community programs like community policing forums and those trained by the Law Enforcement Advancement Program. But these CPF and Neighborhood Watch members in an area like Marikana say they do not feel safe.
Kunzima ngoba ngamanye amaxesha sike sizifumane ne-threats, but ke kuba sifuna iPhilippi, Greater Philippi ephilileyo siyazama. sibe ngathi asiziva nezo zigrogriso sizifumanayo kona kululanga but ke ayithi loo nto masilahle itawula.
Impilo lapha ayikho ntle, ayikho right kuba sinabantu abavuka ekuseni abaphangelayo, funeke sibagathile as i-neighborhood watch yalapha ePhilippi. Then nalate kuba kukho abantu ababuye emisebenzini efuneke sibagathile kona bukhona ubundlobongela up and buninzi.
South Africa has dismissed the petition lodged with the International Criminal Court by 2 Ghanaian nationals, describing it as legally baseless and without merit. The application says attacks on foreign nationals in South Africa amount to crimes against humanity and accuses the government of failing to hold perpetrators accountable. Here's Minister of International Relations and Cooperation, Ronald Lamola.
So even on this matter that they have called to the African Union, we believe at some stage we'll be able to find a solution that must take these issues forward, particularly the protocol on migration at the African Union, because when you look at that protocol, it deals with a number of issues, not just issues to look into South Africa. It deals with issues of economic integration, issues of peace and security, democracy, and so forth. So all those root causes of migration in the continent, South Africa is one of the highest receiving countries, have to be engaged and be dealt with. But that should not be the first step. The first step should be to deal with this matter at a bilateral level, resolve whatever that is practical to resolve. And that process should be given a life of its own, and it will not be about just South Africa, because it will just be about pointing fingers. But it will be about resolving the migration challenges which are across the continent.
Meanwhile, the Interministerial Committee on Migration says Cabinet will this week consider border upgrade projects, including the construction of a new border fence at areas deemed vulnerable. You may remember the Department of Public Works spent 40 million rand on a fence between South Africa and Zimbabwe, but some dubbed it a mere washing line. eNCA's Moloko Moloto filed this report from Beitbridge border post, where more than 70,000 undocumented foreign nationals have been repatriated since the start of anti-illegal migration protests just a few months ago. There, he also heard from Gift of the Givers, who've provided 155,000 meals in the last 28 days.
Against growing concerns over illegal migration, government says it is moving ahead with a modern, integrated border management system. This critical area is one of the hotspots targeted to protect the country's sovereignty.
These phased projects will also prioritize the deployment of technological infrastructure to keep up with sophisticated criminal networks and syndicates which exploit our technological vulnerabilities. That will be moving towards contractual and financial close soon, so the construction can start at the beginning of 2027.
The number of migrants being housed at the temporary repatriation center in Musina before being repatriated continues to fluctuate.
But what we have seen is that as and when Saturday and also yesterday we at least, no, the 189 was on Friday. Yesterday we managed to see more numbers. There were around 1,215 that we have managed to register.
Among those awaiting verification and repatriation is a Malawian national who entered South Africa without required travel documents.
Did you come in a bus into South Africa in a taxi?
We just walk a little like...
But you know that is wrong, right?
It's wrong, it's true. That's why we choose to go back home. Yeah, we agree.
Humanitarian organization Gift of the Givers has also begun scaling back its relief operations.
The numbers fluctuating, Moloko, but the team remains on the ground. What we did, we cut because remember we're saving 3 course meal, like a breakfast, your lunch, your supper. So what we did, we cut supper completely. Because Home Affairs now, they are very quick. I mean, by 1 o'clock, everyone's been processed.
National Treasury is reviewing public submissions on the draft procurement regulations. The draft regulations seek to improve oversight of public spending, enhance accountability, and reduce corruption in the procurement system. Here's Treasury Chief Director Willie Matebula.
The regulations were published for public comments in April this year. And so the comments that we received from the public is about a week ago. Right now, we are in the process of analyzing all the comments The next 2 to 3 months, we'll be working on consolidating those, reviewing all of the comments. And from there, we will, of course, come up with a draft set of regulations that will, of course, be submitted to Parliament for parliamentary scrutiny over a period of 30 days, and subsequent to that process, and then the minister can then sign off. In other words, the minister will promulgate the regulations, and of course then the president will decide afterwards on the effective date of the act itself.
In other news we're keeping an eye on, Iran says it will stop its attacks on U.S. military bases in the Gulf as long as the United States continues to do the same. After 13 nights of intense airstrikes on Iran, Washington suspended its bombing campaign over the weekend. President Donald Trump's advisors are reportedly urging the pause, citing a lack of targets and concerns over depleting U.S. arsenal. The DRC has confirmed over 3,000 Ebola outbreak cases. Health officials there say infections increased by around 1,000 in just 10 days. With vaccines now in clinical trial, the death toll has now reached over 1,300. Onto the world of sports now, and Banyana get their Women's Africa Cup of Nations campaign underway against Tanzania in Morocco on Monday evening. With qualifications for the 2027 FIFA Women's World Cup also at stake, Coach Desiree Ellis says the team's immediate focus is on getting out of the group before setting their sights on another World Cup appearance.
In terms of the personnel that we've chosen, I think coming into the national team is already lots of pressure. You come to a tournament, you want to do well. Obviously, the first point of goal is to qualify for the World Cup. Once you qualify for the World Cup, then you try and take it from there and see how far you can go, because then you're in the semi-finals. But I think we're not looking further than the first game. Obviously, then getting out of the group to qualify for the World Cup, and then we'll take it from there. I think everybody, I've been to the World Cup twice as Banyana, so everybody would try to want to go a third time again after having done so well in 2023.
And these fans are hoping Banyana go all the way.
Just like to say good luck to them. Make us proud. We need another trophy. We don't want just the Boks to be the champs. We need Banyana to come through and just make us proud.
Hey, Desiree Ellis has got the best team, and I'm vouching for the women's AFCON winners of South Africa, and I hope they win, and I'm very hopeful.
Wishing you all the best. Just do your best, and that's all you can do.
I will just say wish them all the best and good luck for them. So I'll only say go Banyana, go!
Well, South Africa's dominant start at the Commonwealth Games Netball tournament continued with a 96-42 victory over Tonga. That follows their opening win against Malawi. Here's Proteas captain Kanyisa Chawane.
No, I'm really happy for the girls. You can see us starting to enjoy these games and really here to make ourselves proud. I mean, we didn't even know we broke the record. They just let us know now and we just started celebrating. So I'm just happy for what the girls did today. I think it's just still keeping the standard. Sometimes if the team cannot keep up with you, we cannot become complacent. We still want to smash those goals. We still want to run our lines and do what we need to do. And that's what we were able to do, and breaking a record on top of that.
Next up, they'll play Northern Ireland on Tuesday afternoon. Elsewhere at the Games, Peter Kutzer has underlined his dominance in the pool, claiming a second gold medal at the Commonwealth Games. He set a new Games record in the men's 200-meter backstroke. Amy Cunny won silver in the women's 100-meter breaststroke, while Olivia Null secured bronze in the 100-meter backstroke. Team SA has now won 9 medals, all in the pool. And Formula One world champion Lando Norris is back in the winner's circle after claiming his first victory of the 2026 season. The Brit secured the 12th win of his career at the Hungarian Grand Prix.
I don't know what happened, to be honest. I just kept losing the rear. I had like 3 or 4 big snaps. Felt horrible, and of course Oscar did a good job to get the cut back and get back past. So I think I was just a bit wide in the dirt, and game over for the first lap. But man, I was pushing like hell to try and force him into a mistake or something. My pace today was probably some of the best pace I've ever had. The car was beautiful to drive, and I felt very confident. So a great race, and to get it back in terms of going long, which is certainly not what I was expecting. But the pace was so good, I could always extend the stints, and fresh tires then always won me the race. So just happy to be back and see the number 1 again.
And that's how we wrap today's News Bite. For developments in these and more, Keep an eye on eNCA.com and DSTV channel 403.